Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
Yeah, we've been everywhere, man, and today we are talking to New South Wales for the first time, a man who, when I asked him during the week did he want to be Mitch from Cessnock or Mitch from Orange, it was tricky because as we speak he is driving between those two places as he moves house. Mitch Kelly, g'day to you.
G'day, how are you fellas?
Good, thanks. You got Neil here, you got Rob as the other voice. Well, first things first, where do we find you as we speak?
Currently on the M4 in Sydney, and I can dead set say people are absolute peanuts on the road today.
Now, sorry, we should introduce that as a traffic report for the M4 in Sydney. Where does the M4 take you from to?
So, sort of western Sydney out towards Windsor, then you're going out towards like the Blue Mountains. You keep going west and you find yourself in a little town called Orange.
Hey, Mitch, now, if my memory is correct, unless I was on the wrong road, have you to drive through Bathurst to get where you're going?
Yes, I do.
Now, we came the other way. We had a holiday, started up to Broken Hill with some family, and then came across, had a very, very cold night in Orange. And the next morning we were driving, and I had no idea where we were going, and then I saw this sign of Bathurst. Oh, that's good. And next thing, accidentally, I found myself on the Bathurst racetrack. Now, I'm not a petrol head, but that is one of the most exhilarating driving times of my life, driving around the Bathurst track after seeing it on telly so much. Have you done that yet?
Yeah, and it's very exciting going the maximum of 60 kilometres.
Yeah, that took the edge off it a bit, I must admit.
It's funny, you go around there and you see, quite often you'll see a police car sort of doing speed trap, and quite often people just think, I'm going to have a crack here, and before you know it, the boys in red and blue are nailing them, and you think, oh yeah, good on you guys.
Yeah, well, you come off the hill and you got Conrad straight in front of you. It's pretty hard not to give it a push on the accelerator.
My car goes from 0 to 100 in about 4.4 years. I go downhill.
Now, they've just resurfaced Albert Park, I noticed, during the week, because obviously the Grand Prix is coming through here fairly soon, and I just hope when they do the preparation for Mount Panorama, they remember to take down the 60 signs, because you don't really want Dick Johnson or Alan Moffat coming over the top of the hill and seeing the 60 sign and whacking their foot on the brake. So tell us, you are a Cessnockian, but soon to be an Orangian. What do you do in that neck of the woods?
Well, I've got a long history in Orange, so I've spent a lot of time there as a kid as well. I've just got a job in the gold mine, actually. I'm going out to Cadia. Just got to start out there. And I was in Cessnock, I was coal mining. So, either way, I'm an expert at digging myself in and out of trouble. You can just make it up as you go.
That's the spirit. And Orange, of course, the apple capital of New South Wales, which I just find remarkable given the name of the town.
Yeah, well, irony isn't lost on me, and everyone's like, "What do you want to go there for?" So they've got good apples, and I like the cold. So
yeah, it isn't real warm, is it? So that part of the world, and I guess you're in some respects you know Cessnock better in terms of recent history. The impact of COVID, obviously the Hunter Valley is known for two things, that is wine and coal. Have you noticed any sort of comeback from what COVID had done?
Well, COVID swept through there like a plague almost. In some cases, the numbers were higher there than it was in Sydney. So, but as Paul Novocastrian and Hunter Valley people do, they strive on, and the pubs are still serving beers and people are still going out. So, they're battling through as best they can, I suppose.
For a long time out here in Geelong, away from Melbourne, it was sort of Melbourne's disease, Melbourne's problem, and while we lived with the restrictions, it never really got to our doorstep. That's changed of recent times, but were you a bit similar when it first started? It was something that you read about in the paper but didn't really experience until it literally was all around you?
Yeah, well, during lockdown, you hear Sydney, and then eventually the greater Sydney region was locked down, being the Central Coast and Wollongong, and we were the next region out. And you go into yourself, surely it can't come up here. Surely it can't come up here. And, a few months later, boom, you've got numbers in the hundreds now over 1,000 cases a day. And, so I think we knew it was a matter of time until it sort of hit. But, you hope for the best, expect the worst, but hope for the best kind of thing.
So going off to Orange, I've done a bit of work in Orange over the journey. I almost lived there at one stage. I was offered a job in Orange. It's a beautiful town at the foot of Mount Canobolas. I just love saying that word. What's Orange known for apart from its apples?
Well, Orange has quite a selection of wineries, a lot of famous for a lot of white wine. As I mentioned, you've got Cadia, you've got the big gold mine out there, and also you've got hospitality in the town. It's quite a tidy town, and it's known for, especially for people from Sydney who want to get away and have a nice little time in hospitality and stuff in Orange. That and apples, and, it's a little town that keeps on going, so it's good.
And I guess it serves as something of a bit of a hub for towns around it?
Yeah, well, you're talking about Bathurst before. The best part about Bathurst is the view and the rear vision mirrors going through it. And, then
Good morning to our Bathurst listeners.
I kid, but seriously, Orange is better.
Well, we have someone listening who I know lived in Bathurst at the moment, so that'll be interesting. I'll look forward to the text messages coming through about that, fairly certain.
You're probably going, who's this Palooka? Get him off.
Now, we haven't got a whole lot of time, so we should focus on the other thing that you do, and that is your podcast. You and I met I think I was on the receiving end of your podcast, and then vice versa for me during the week, and I thought, let's have a chat on the wireless as well. Tell us a bit about your podcast and what you cover on it.
Well, it's called Life's a Mitch Podcast, and what it is, essentially, it's having a chat with people with amazing stories, not a high-tech prosthesis. It's genuinely myself having a chat to people from all over the world. So far, I've had some Aussie celebs on, some Aussie musicians.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
Oh, stop it. And we got to meet some. I got to meet some people involved in arranged marriages, people that have been on the harsh end of child trafficking through Asia and Zanzibar, and hearing some stories about male. So I met a male rights activist. That's not saying men of this, men of that. It's just a guy from the States who's trying to get support for men's mental health. So just stuff like that. Interesting stories that don't ultimately get to have the light shone on them. It's a way for people to share a story who don't genuinely get a chance to have it heard. So that's all it is. I promote a lot of stuff for them, and it's just been nice to meet some incredible people so far.
So Life's a Mitch, i.e. it rhymes with Life's a you-know-what. Life's a Mitch podcast, available in all good podcast stores and probably in one or two ordinary ones as well. We are coming towards the end of our time together, unfortunately, so thanks for taking some time out of your trip to have a chat to us. All the very best with the move, and we'll talk to you when you are really Mitch from Orange at some stage in the future, hopefully.
Stay safe, blokes, and it was nice to chat to you again, and I'll see you on the next one.
Good day, mate. Travel safe.
Thanks, mate. There he is, Mitch Kelly. Life's a Mitch podcast. You can also find him on Facebook as well.